And welcome to our live Limelight training webinars. I'm Valentina Zyaeva, Product Marketing Manager here at Limelight, and today, as always, I'm joined by our fantastic product owners and subject matter experts. So first we have Chad, our Director of Analytics. Hi, Chad. Then we have Logan, our System Integration subject matter expert. Hi, Logan. And finally, we have Greg, our subscription billing subject matter expert. So today we're going to cover the greatest and latest product features that you have in your Limelight platform, because we want you to be able to stay up to date and get the most out of your Limelight platform. So Chad will be walking us through the latest features in analytics and reporting. Then Logan's going to walk us through what's new in partnerships and integrations. And finally, Greg is going to walk us through the overall platform and some new billing features that we have for everybody. So before I hand it over to Chad, I just wanted to walk through some housekeeping items. As always, there's a Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. So at any time throughout this webinar, please feel free to send us as many questions as you'd like. I will personally be monitoring all of them to make sure that we answer each and every single one of your questions. So yeah, send us your questions. And I think that's about it for now. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chad, who will walk us through the latest analytics features.
Okay, thanks, Val. Can you just advance to that? There we go. So what I want to cover, I've got quite a bit today. Today and next week we'll have a lot. But today I'm going to cover a new dashboard for customers, and then a redesigned dashboard for bins. And then I'll talk about some enhancements and some things that are coming soon, just to give you an idea of what to expect in the near future. So what I've got here, let me start over. I'm going to do this so it's just like the experience you guys have. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the customer's dashboard. So you can see our new menu here under Insights, go to Analytics, go down to Marketing, and you have a few dashboards here, and we're going to go to Customers. So in the Customers dashboard, what you'll see is you'll see four what we call single value charts at the very top. And the idea here, again, if I keep reiterating the fact that we want you to take something away within 30 seconds of looking at a dashboard, we want you to take away something valuable. So if you focus on these four single value charts, you can see immediately that, and I'm looking at the sales demo here, but you can see that the sales demo has 1.73% fewer active customers than it did at the same time last month. So it's the 24th of the month. And this is important. What these single value charts do is they look at the same period of time. So since it's the 24th and we've got 13,252 active customers, it means that last month on the 24th, we had 1.73 more customers. So hope that makes sense. But you can see right through here, you've got active customers, inactive customers, your gross revenue, and then your MRR. So you can look at those measures and really start to understand like how your business is doing compared to last month. Then as you move to the right, you can see some of these other key measures. So by subscription cycle, you can see just orders, gross revenue, refunds, and then active and lost customers, and then your AOV, your average order value. Now, if I hover over these, let's see if I can. So we've added a lot of hover notes, and I went into that last week, but you can start to see here if you've got a question on what something is. I've tried to put definitions and formulas in here where things aren't as unclear, so that there is more clarity. Then we've got the geo map here where you can see where your sales are in the U.S. The higher concentrations are, of course, green, and lower concentrations go to red. And as you, let's see if I hover here. No, that's not going to do it. So moving on to the customer list, what you can do here, and I see this evolving. I'd like to hear some feedback from people. So if you've got any, please email me or call me. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to see in the customer list, where you can actually go in here and you can export this data. So right now, what it is it just tells you if you've got an active subscriber, what their lifetime value is in the period of time that I've got entered in here. And I've got the default is 30 days. So I can go in here and I can go to 90 days or however long I want, but it's going to tell me what the CLTV is, customer lifetime value, for every customer in that period of time. Again, when you export it, you can export the whole file. Then we've got a cohort analysis down here. The way that you read this is, so I've got different channels right here that you'll see. So if I had email, you'd see a third channel called email. I might have a channel called affiliate. But you get the idea. All your channels would be listed on that furthest left column. And then as you go 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 months out into the future, you can see the retention on the sales demo goes from 91% to 26% in 7 months. So you can just start to see trends, and you can see by channel what each of your channels are performing per customer. Now, let's see, I'm going to go next. I'm going to hit the bins dashboard. So I've got that loaded. But again, I guess I should just go through analytics so you can see it. So insights, analytics, you're going to go down to operational, and you're going to go to just bins. And so a lot of clients that I've talked to that use this thing aggressively, they're some of the bigger clients that we have, and I feel like there's a lot of value here in just understanding where your revenue is coming from by bin. So as you look at this dashboard, again, the 30-second rule, you get in your head, okay, I'm billing at 68%. Feel good about that, or maybe I feel bad about that, but let's say I feel good. So 68%. Now I can go down here and I can tell what my billing rate is by credit, debit, or prepaid, which are bins, as you know. And then I can also look at my chargeback rate by card type. I can I can look at my attempts by credit, debit, prepaid, and then since it's unfortunate that the sales demo doesn't have great reasons in here. There's a lot of nulls. But I looked at a handful of clients right before I got on this webinar to talk with you, and I saw some really good data in here. So you might look at this and go, okay, I want to address this specific decline reason. I want to dig in further to figure out how I can capture more customers that are declining for X, Y, and Z reasons. This gives you visibility into that. Then, these are pretty straightforward, but you've got your top 20 bins. So I can see what my billing rate is, and I can see the transaction volume by bin, so I can isolate specific bins. So on the right side here, I've got the attempts, so you can get a sense for the volume. So that this line is showing attempts, and then the billing rate are the bars. And if you hover over these, you can see, so there's more clarity and you can drill to get more data. I won't do that because those usually take a bit longer. Then we've got the chargeback rate by bin, so that you can, if you wanted to isolate the chargebacks and maybe make some business rules on different bins, you can certainly do that. And then just a bunch of data down here that billing rate by bank. A lot of times I'll see specific banks that don't have good billing rates, or some that have better than others. And that's when you start to get a lot of volume on certain banks, you really want to monitor that to understand, am I doing something good with this bank, or could I be doing something better?
Yeah, Chad, actually, similar to what you're saying, I have a question about what's really the use case for this dashboard? How do most clients use the information presented in this dashboard?
Yeah. So great question. So I've talked to clients that use this in different ways. One of the more creative ways, and I hear this pretty consistently, is that they'll create a rule so that, for example, I'll just make up one. Let's say that they are a prepaid, they're trying to order on a prepaid bin. Then you can take that customer and you can create business rules to handle them differently. Maybe that customer, you don't want to take an order online. You want them to call in. Well, you could serve up a message that says, please call our call center. That's one way I've seen people do it. I've seen other people that have different pricing models for the various prepaid debit credit cards. I've had a lot of clients that simply don't accept business from certain bins altogether, or maybe a certain bank. So we can, in the bin, we can identify what the bank is. We can identify the credit, debit, or prepaid. There's lots of things in that bin that you can use to just create different business rules to optimize your business. At the end of the day, the whole purpose of this is to increase lifetime value and just create a stronger business. I hope that answers the question.
Yep, I think that's awesome. Thanks, Chad.
So with that, I mean, there's lots here that you can look at, but it's actually pretty actionable if you can just brainstorm with your team on what, the types of things that you could do to increase your lifetime value by bin. I'm sure it'll be worth your time. So the next thing I want to talk about is just some enhancements that we're making and some things that are coming in the future. Val, if you could take back the screen here. Okay. So we're always listening to folks just wanting to understand what we can do better in analytics, right? So one of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten fairly frequently is the term MCV. That term stands for merchant chargeback, but it's unclear to a lot of people that are using analytics. So we've made the decision to change. Wherever we're seeing MCV, we're going to change that to chargeback. We've already done that. It launched yesterday. We've pushed that through most places in the application, but it begged a bigger question. Nomenclature in general. What can we do with analytics to just make it easier for people to understand? And one of the areas that we can do very easily is make the words more consistent with industry words. So in the coming weeks and months, you're going to see slight changes, but we'll try to talk through them. We'll try to announce them. But there will be words that we've used for years that are going to change. and be, again, like I said, more in line with just the overall industry, so that a broader set of people can understand and use analytics more effectively. The second thing that is happening here, and this starts next week. You'll see the first items Thursday, or I'm sorry, Wednesday. We're going to revamp all of our new reports that we launched about 6 months ago. So each of those, you'll see each of those reports have just more substance in them. We're not going to remove anything, so you'll still have the same data that you had previously, but we're going to add on to the overall picture for you, so that hopefully you can take away more from these reports. I've worked with several clients in a beta process to figure out what to change in our reports. So again, you can call me, you can email me. I'm on Skype. Let me know, please, if there is anything that we can do better. We want to hear it, and we want to make those changes for you. We don't want to have an application that's constantly knee-jerk making changes. So I try to be thoughtful in all these changes, but we still want to make sure that the application is as useful as it can be to a broader audience. And we've seen usage increase in analytics. We've quadrupled usage in the last 3 months. So more and more customers are using analytics, and we're real happy about that. Now, if I move on to a bigger topic, I'm just going to touch this one on benchmarks. So we've been working the last several months on some new functionality, and this will start to come into play next week. You'll see some of it, but it will, as the weeks progress, in the next few weeks, you're going to see more and more of this thing called benchmarks. And what it is benchmarks is a combination of using KPIs, which are key performance indicators, and company benchmarks, which are, we've already launched some company benchmarks so you can see your 90-day averages, so that you can start to get an idea of, okay, how much gross revenue do I average in a 90-day period? What's my average fraud percent in a 90-day period? So that you can then create a measure, a KPI to measure against. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you want your in-trial cancellation percentage to be below 5%. You can create a benchmark or a KPI on that. You can set it at 5%, and so when you go into your reports and dashboards, you'll see the measure against that benchmark on any report that you're looking at. So again, with benchmarks, I think it's going to be a really useful tool to everybody. You'll be able to use your data to really just start to help set goals for your company, your department, or maybe it's just for yourself. So the idea of benchmarks is you create business objectives, and then you measure against those objectives, you monitor them, and then you manage them. You might create plans specifically to increase retention rate, or to increase billing rate, or any number of KPIs and benchmarks that we're going to give you access to. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Bob.
Hey, Chad. Yeah. Question: will they be able to create their own KPIs or goals, or are we going to give them, an existing number that they can?
Yeah. So with benchmarks, there's two components. You're going to be able to create your own goal, and we're going to provide you a company benchmark. So, for example, if I go in there and I want to create a goal for my retention rate, I can certainly do that. I can set it whatever I want. But I'm going to provide you a benchmark to use that gives you your 90-day average, so that you know if you're being aggressive or you're not being aggressive on that goal or benchmark. So yeah, the answer is yes.
And in general, do you think that businesses or clients should be creating their benchmarks or KPIs based on their specific own company's 90-day averages, or also they should be looking to what the average is in the industry?
I mean, it really depends on what your goal is of the benchmark. I like it to be realistic. So when I had my businesses, I always used my own data to create the benchmarks. So I've used like my 90-day average, and but if my 90-day average was well below what I saw in the industry, then I wouldn't ignore it, but I wouldn't create an unrealistic benchmark. It's always a good idea to create a realistic benchmark, um, just just so everybody on the team is motivated. So anyway, but you can manage that however you see fit.
Cool. And which dashboards are our clients going to be first be able to see this functionality on?
Yeah, I think it was let's see, which Val, do you remember which reports I think it's on the traffic source report, and then there was one, it was the order analysis, those two reports. So traffic source and order analysis. Those will go live on Wednesday in a small way. We want to make sure that we have the appropriate documentation in place, and everybody's ready for the new functionality, because we think this is actually going to be pretty well used.
Yeah, and it's going to be on reports, not the dashboard.
It can be on both, but it will be on the analytics dashboards to begin with. So again, what we'll do is, like we typically do, we'll iterate as we get feedback from you guys. If you like it, what you don't like, what you would like to see different, we really listen to that kind of feedback.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to reiterate what Chad said, we want this platform to work the best for you to meet your needs. So we're really excited about benchmarks because I think it's pretty revolutionary. Not only can you now see your data, but you can now also track and measure it against, and to see how you're doing in comparison, to be able to actually set goals and track progress towards those goals. So, like Chad said, give us your feedback once you start seeing this functionality, and we're just going to keep making it better and better for you. So
the other thing I would say too on that topic of feedback is, Adam Pivko is highly available, and I know a lot of you talk to him or any one of our our employees. It'll get to me if you tell them. It'll get to me.
Cool. Okay, so thanks, Chad. And now we're going to hand it over to Finn, who's going to talk to us about the latest partnerships and integration that Limelight has to offer for you.
All right, thanks, Val and Chad. So we have a few topics to talk about here, starting with Zapier, which is an application that allows for ease of integration into literally thousands of third-party applications. For instance, an event in Limelight can get relayed into a third-party application just by creating a simple workflow, which I'll walk you through here. We do have a Help Center article that will help you build out these workflows, and that's what I'm going to be demonstrating here for you as well. In addition to that, we have done a little bit of house cleaning by updating our SALT 2.0 gateway integration to the name Limelight 2.0. And also, as a follow-up to our Decline Manager Override Gateway feature, we've added the ability to preserve or not preserve that force to the gateway. So I'm going to hop in here and show you Zapier really quick. Okay, so as I'd mentioned, Zapier is a means of integrating with various different third-party applications. I'm going to be demonstrating a simple workflow into Google Sheets. And so I've created this simple spreadsheet here with 4 columns: order ID, timestamp, first name, and last name. You obviously can use any of the various different applications that are available here, but I just wanted to show you guys a very quick, simple way of configuring this in Zapier. So to start, you would go to Make a Zap. And I've already made this Zap, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing from scratch, but the premise here is that you have triggers, which is the event in Limelight, and then you have actions, which would be the event in the third-party application. Now, what I'm going to be demonstrating is the generic webhook configuration. And so what I mean by this is that in Limelight, we have our postback URL functionality right here at the campaign level. Within our new menu here under Products, Campaigns, you would edit your campaign, check this box, and then at the bottom you have the ability to configure a generic postback URL. So instead of walking through from scratch, I'll go ahead and show you the Zap that I've already created here. So starting with the trigger event, you would be choosing Zapier's webhook triggers, which can be readily found here, or you can search upon whatever application you might be looking for here. But the trigger on our side would be a webhook. And so with that, you have to choose your webhook type, which would be a catch hook. Once you've selected that, you move on and they provide you with a URL. You would copy this into your clipboard and you would paste this. This would be the endpoint that the postback URL is pointing to. With that, you have to configure the payload through this query string right here. So if you view your tokens, this is all of the order level data that we have available to you to be configured. And so what I've done is I've configured just through this simple query string, the field name, and then the token. So we've got order ID, we've got timestamp, we've got first name, and we've got last name. And again, we've configured our columns here within the spreadsheet accordingly. Now moving on, you go through a few steps here that let you, well, first you would take that query string and you would paste that here. So whatever that payload would look like for you guys, you would paste it here with the Limelight tokens in brackets as the value. Then you can pull in some samples. So what I'll do, just to kind of give you an idea of what this kind of test step looks like, is, as you can see, I've tested a few here, but if I come down to the bottom and I click Get More Samples, it's starting to basically await a webhook. And so as I'm going through these steps, I can choose that webhook that I may have triggered, and you can trigger the webhook by either just testing the URL, or you can actually trigger the real event by creating an order that fit the criteria of the postback URL configurations. Once you've configured everything here, it looks like I've got a little bit of urgency here. We'll get to that step in a moment. So the action here would be, in our case, Google Sheets, but you may want to be using some other application. Again, keep in mind that our webhook functionality, or our postback URL functionality here, is only at the order level. You can configure it with order actions, so updates to orders, and I'll show you really quickly that. We support all of these different trigger events at the order level that can be relayed into a third-party application. But just for the simplicity of this demo, I'm just going to be using order creation events. So moving on here, I've selected Google Sheets, and then you're able to choose what action is actually happening in Google Sheets. We're going to just go ahead and create a row within the spreadsheet. You're able to connect it into your Google Sheets account or your Gmail account. And then let's see what I need to tend to here. It seems that, oh, okay. So in any case, I've already taken these steps, and I won't do any saving here because I don't want to break what I have set up. But in any case, though, you would choose your spreadsheet. You would choose the sheet within that spreadsheet, and then you map these entities on both sides. So as you can see, this is the column within the spreadsheet. This is the value that came from my test that I just ran. And you just do simple mapping. So in this case, timestamp, T-stamp, select it, you're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. But in any case, this is just a simple form of mapping. And then once you've done everything here, you would go ahead and save. You can actually add additional steps if you want to add more actions to whatever trigger. But in any case, I have all this set up already and it's turned on. So I'll go through a really quick order creation and show you a demonstration here. So I've got this order here. I'm going to just place a new one from the existing order just to simplify things for you. And as you can see, as I place this order, we have the order that has been created here in Limelight. And there you go. You've got the payload that you have configured. And as you can see, it happens in real time as the action takes place in Limelight. Now, obviously, this might be an overly simplified demo because you can, obviously using Google Sheets is not the most complex of third-party applications on the action side. So you can kind of just explore Zapier's other different third-party applications that they have integrated and, kind of experiment on your own. You can turn the Zap on and off. And as you can see, it's a very, very simple configuration process within Zapier and also within Limelight. So moving on from there, Val, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Hey, Logan, what are kind of the most popular applications that you've seen clients tend to want to connect their Limelight platform with?
So that's a great question. And as you can see, if you navigate to the homepage here at Zapier, they give you an idea of their most popular applications. I'm actually just using a trial account, but you can sign up for a premium account, and there's quite a few other options in here as well. Some of the ones that come to mind most immediately might be, keep in mind that we're talking about order level actions in Limelight. So you might consider, an integration into QuickBooks, for instance. But if you scroll through their popular applications, here's another example, maybe Aweber, an autoresponder that Limelight might not already be inherently integrated with, but we actually do have a direct Aweber integration. But this would be a good place to start if you're wondering, if Limelight doesn't have a direct integration to a third party that you're planning to use, you can go ahead and search upon them here, and you might be able to accomplish this on your own.
Cool, and the website is just zapier.com, right?
Yep, that's right. And you can sign up for a free trial, as I have as well. So moving on, as I'd mentioned, the other enhancement that I have to demonstrate plays off of I believe I mentioned this in my last webinar here, this gateway override within Decline Manager. Just to kind of take a few steps back, Decline Manager it manages your decline salvage process. It sets the next retry date. You can apply certain discounts if you'd like. But the main reason for us having added this gateway override dropdown was for FlexPay, one of our value-added services that uses their AI technology to define that next retry date. And they're actually, I think that they're reaching about a 40% approval rate, which is pretty significant, given that, from the data that I've explored, most of the generic profiles in Limelight, unless you're incredibly savvy and can configure these rules in an effective way, you can't nearly reach that efficacy. But moving on here, so this is what I'd like to show you is this preservation here. We've added, if you select an override gateway, the ability to either preserve or not preserve that configuration. So when, let's say, FlexPay salvages, or let's say actually more generically, any gateway salvages a transaction, you can preserve it to that gateway. Our main reason for adding this checkbox, though, is because FlexPay, you don't want to preserve your salvagement to FlexPay. So you would leave this unchecked, which would be to not preserve the transaction to FlexPay, allowing for it to go back to the gateway within Limelight, and if it declines again, it'll pop back into decline salvage and leverage FlexPay. So that pretty much sums up everything. Valentina, do you have any other questions?
No, I think so far there's no questions. But before we hand it over to Greg to go through the new platform features, I just wanted to share with you guys, sharing my screen now. As Logan mentioned, we do have a very detailed Help Center article on how to configure Zapier, and basically walks you through step by step what Logan just walked us all through. So you can find this article under the campaigns right over here, configuring Zapier. Just wanted to show you guys that we have that, just in case.
Thanks, Val.
No problem if you want to go back and try it out yourself. So now I'm going to hand it over to Greg, and he's going to walk us through all the latest platform features that we have. Except Greg, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So we've been doing a lot with our platform as far as enhancing billing models and offers to really support any way that your customer wants to buy. And that's really the end goal, is to be able to support your customers and to be able to support you selling to them. So a lot of our focus on the product has been centered around this ultimate billing freedom. If you want to sell a straight sale offer, you want to sell a prepaid offer, you want to sell bundles, we want to support everything that you do as a merchant. So getting into some of that is some of the billing freedom that we've enhanced are to our billing models and offer structure. Within the offer, you are now able to configure a trial. You can do a risk-free trial, or you can do a trial with a delayed billing charge on that. And then just set up a complete custom next recurring. And we focused some of our past webinars on showing you this feature, but I'm just going to kind of reiterate it when I get into the platform. But a brand new feature we just built is this idea of product bundles. Now you have either a pre-built bundle that when somebody purchases this box, I'm going to give them these 3 products. So that would be the prepaid bundle model. But you want to be able to track inventory of those 3 different SKUs, even though there's this higher entity above it that's controlling the fixed price or whatever it may be. But with this bundle is you want to now also support the ability to allow either your customer or your experts in your business to pick a different box for this person to get every month. So based on your feedback that this person is this shirt size, they like this color, they like, whatever you find out about that customer from that feedback, you can now customize their next bundle they receive. So if you think about it in terms of, the subscription box companies, of being able to customize the contents of that bundle for their next shipment, that's kind of where a lot of our focus has gone. And I'll show you that brand new feature once we get into the platform. But again, just to reiterate, the beta group is open. So if you want to get in and start using the billing models and offers, this will currently work for all current clients and past clients. You basically can configure your new stuff using billing models and offers, and leave your existing offer pages and landing pages for your existing sites, the same. So basically, you could be a hybrid approach of starting to use the new stuff, but still supporting the old stuff. A lot of our focus has also been put around simplifying our system to basically allow for you to navigate and intuitively know where features are within our system, and also simplify that configuration process. We know, because we are such a freedom-free system, that a lot of this stuff can become overcomplicated. And that's really our goal, is simplifying it for the user while still providing the flexibility that we've always provided. So with that, we got a brand new navigation menu. We've moved some items around, and there might be a little bit of a learning curve to get on it, but I'll show you some easy tricks that we've put in to help you learn that new setup, that new navigation menu. We've also implemented a brand new setup guide. So with this is for brand new users or existing users, you now have a setup guide throughout the system that basically brings you through all of the vital steps to placing an order within our platform. From building a product, billing model, campaign, to setting up email templates to send to that customer, and then just getting to that new order state. So I think it's a really cool, helpful feature, and I'll show you that as well. And want to move to the next slide? There we go. So with this new and improved Limelight, we've also fully enhanced our help center. Our help documentation was a little bit out of date. I've shown you some of the new API documentation, but now we've completely gone in, restructured our help center. It's much more intuitive to find things within the help center. It's a much cleaner layout. So I'll show you that as well. And you now have the ability to also follow articles. So this is really cool. Is like if you have a feature that you want updates on that particular feature, you can just follow that article, and basically anytime there's changes to that article, you'll get a notification of it. So I think it's very helpful if you have a particular feature that you're constantly using. And then again, we've just simplified our navigation menu. We've kind of reorganized, renamed a few things. I think you guys will really like it once you begin learning the new navigation. The new UI, we've included, more modern colors. We're now, using our standard Limelight colors as well as our logo. We've removed the ad carousel from the home page. We thought that was a little intrusive, so we've kind of moved that out of the home page. And then we've also began adding more tooltips throughout the system. And what tooltips are is when you see a particular parameter on a feature and it's kind of an ambiguous thing, is you now have a brief definition of basically what am I exactly setting up. So these tooltips will kind of be forever ongoing as we make our system simpler for you to use. And am I all set to take over the screen, Val?
Yep.
All right, great.
Let's show them the new stuff.
Great. So when you first get to your platform, you'll notice, this is all white. We now have a white navigation bar instead of the black. It's a little bit of a cleaner layout. One of the first things you'll see is that all the main menu items are completely different. We now only have 5 main menu items instead of the, I think, 8 we had before. And also we've kind of shifted some things around. So in products, you'll basically see all of the capabilities of a product. So this is from building a category to the product to the billing model and offer. And the way we've structured this navigation menu is sort of in the priority that you set things up. So it kind of walks you through that building process. So creating an offer, everything you need to do to create an offer within our system. And then you'll create a campaign. And you'll notice that all of the pieces that you can add to a campaign come prior to setting up that campaign. With the customers, we've now moved all of our order management tools under one simple menu. Previously, subscription management lived in another place, and I think it was so decoupled from orders that it was actually kind of confusing. So now under customers, you have orders and order management, subscription management, reprocessing and declines, and then you have everything about the customer record itself, as well as those marketing tools that I've shown you before, building a segment to target those customers and adding tags to customers as well. Under payments, we now have gateways, and if you'll notice, the gateways now links directly to our My Providers page, which is known as Providers, but basically it's a centralized place where you'll set up all of those third-party integrations. So you would set up your gateways here, and if I wanted to set up a different type of provider, I would do that all from this centralized place. We've now moved, as Chad kind of showed a little bit, we've moved analytics and reports under an insights menu. And both analytics and reports have a lander now where you can, the reports are under different categories, and you can now navigate and see the report based on the category you're in. So if I'm in analytics and I want to look at an operational type report, they're organized in that fashion versus a different type of report. The import and export of data has moved here. We believe it's a very data-driven thing, so it goes under insights as well. And then all of your additional settings are now centralized under a settings menu. They kind of live throughout the system, and we've really put a focus on this is all configuration related stuff. So setting up user accounts, setting up SMTP servers, setting up system notifications, as well as your provider's menu to get to that page that I just showed you. If you're having any trouble with this navigation bar, we added this expand button, and this will go away after a certain amount of time. But this is to really help our users learn the new navigation. So if you simply click expand, it will just open up every menu. So if you're ever having trouble finding something, you can always look to our help center or simply just click expand and you should be able to find it very quickly. So this will help kind of that learning curve of getting used to the new navigation bar. So one of the things I did discuss is the bundles, and I kind of want to show this feature because I think it's a very cool, useful feature, and I think you guys will find a lot of use out of it as well. Previously, when people wanted to sell groups of products within our system, the only way to really do that is to set up a single product and have that SKU represent that whole bundle. So for fulfillment purposes, is they need to know the content of that SKU and it really only works for these pre-built boxes. If you have a box that is being dynamically built by the customer or by your business, you're not really ever able to do that. So we've added a completely new bundle functionality within our platform. And when you go into the bundle, you'll see the first two things you'll see is a pre-built bundle or custom-built bundle. And again, the pre-built bundle basically says these are the contents of this box. It's always the same. Versus a custom-built bundle that the contents of that box can actually change not only for a customer, but throughout the life cycle of that customer. They can now receive a different bundle box every month. So to set up a custom-built bundle, and I'll show you a custom because it's a little bit more complicated. So you'll simply just enter a name of your custom bundle. You would select the vertical that it belongs to. You'd select the category that it belongs to. Now you have a pricing model decision. Is this custom bundle, does the whole bundle carry a single price? So is this a $25 bundle no matter what the contents of my bundle are? Or is this going to dynamically change depending on the items that that person selected to be in their bundle? So that decision is the fixed versus the per item. And the per item price works in a way where I can enter a value here and I can allow you to select 3 to 5 SKUs, and it's just going to be $10 per line item that you add to that box. No matter what the product price is, I know I'm just going to charge you 10 items because you're in this bundle box. And the way the product price works is slightly different, is depending on the content of that box will actually refer to the product price. So if you had different products of different price points within that box, one's at $20, one's at $10, when we do that custom bundle, we'll actually look at the product prices of all the contents within that box. So once you set it up, you'll see that a lot of these fields are very similar to the product. It's kind of a variation of a product, but what's different is now I can attach multiple products to this bundle. So I want to do this product, I want to do this product, I selected the wrong one. And I'm basically, when I'm building a custom built bundle, I'm not saying that these are the contents of my bundle. I'm actually saying these are the products that are available to be selected in this bundle. So it's not, a hard select, and you can actually allow the customer to select whatever items they want. So if I set a max number of items as 3, a customer could come in and purchase 1 of each product in that bundle, or they could just say, I want 3 of the same SKU. And that works in a way where it's just like, if you have a product that you like and you want just 3 of that product in that bundle, you can allow the customer to just, define the quantity of that as well. So just moving on to the offers. Within an offer, we've kind of enhanced the way the trial configuration works. So I just want to kind of show you the new UI of this a little bit. When you add a trial to an offer, you now have some decisions that you have to make within that trial. And basically, you're defining the trial duration. Now, if you're using a billing model of 30 days, is that going to be the same trial duration, or is it going to be a custom duration of 14 days until it gets onto the main product? Am I going to charge the product price, or am I going to charge a custom price? In this case, I'm going to do a risk-free trial for 14 days at $0 up front. And you know what? I'm going to add a delayed billing that after 7 days, I'm going to charge somebody for the full price of the product. And what's really cool about this widget here is on the right-hand side, you'll notice as I configured those settings, I actually kind of get that visual workflow of what's going to happen. So you can see on the day of purchase, the trial begins. The trial price is $0. We're shipping product. Then on day 7, we're going to bill for that full product price, but we're not going to ship again. Then on day 14, when that trial ends, it will go into your main product and charge and ship. So this workflow here is extremely helpful if you want to play around with settings and see how that's going to play out through the life cycle of the subscription. Very, very helpful feature. And then simply you would just configure your products to the bundle and then decide the recurring schedule. But I'm not going to get into that too much. Moving on here, just want to quickly, and we're kind of running short on time, quickly show you the new Help Center. This Help Center is located under the menu. Simply click Help Center. Very similar to what we had before, except everything's categorized in a much more intuitive way. So I would just visit there. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Just visit it, kind of poke around, give us feedback on exactly, what's better, what you're having difficulty with. And then one of the last features I'm going to touch upon is the setup guide. So when you first get to our platform, if you were a new user, you would actually see this setup guide upon logging in. And it would basically kind of look for, do you have products set up? Do you have billing models set up? Have you configured gateways? And if you hadn't, we're going to kind of push the setup guide on you and say, hey, you're missing some steps to create the order. But within the setup guide, you can always revisit it if you've been away from our system for 3 to 6 months and you kind of forget the pieces that you need to set up to create a campaign, to create an order. It's a great reference point to come back to. And one of the great things about it is this all links to the respective pages within the CRM. So for instance, I want to set up products. I can now click products. I'm going to go to the products page, configure a new product. I might go back to my setup guide to say, hey, what's next? Okay, now I got to set up an offer. And it's a great reference point for new users, existing users that may have been missing some steps along the way. But yeah, so that's basically all for me. Kind of rushed through some things because I had to get through a lot. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Cool. Thanks, Greg. So I know we covered a lot today, which is why I'm going to share this little webinar recap slide for all of you. And of course, keep your questions coming in if this slide triggers any questions for you. So Chad walked us through the brand new customers dashboard that you now have, as well as a redesigned bins dashboard, and just a few overall analytics enhancements, lots of nomenclature changes that we want to make to improve your user experience. And on that point, I'm actually going to chat you guys really quickly with a bunch of links here. So I just sent you guys 4 links in the chat box, so look for those links. The first one is Chad's personal email. So as Chad was saying, he's available. Reach out to him if you have any questions on analytics or any feedback that you want to give about analytics. We want to make it work the best for you. So you have his email. And as Chad mentioned, coming soon will be a benchmarks functionality so that you can set goals for your business and track and measure progress against them. And then Logan walked us through our new Zapier integration, which is also the second link that I sent you all. That's zapier.com. So you can go and check out their website and check out the 1,000+ applications that you can integrate your Limelight platform with. And you can also check out the most popular ones like Logan mentioned. Also, Logan mentioned Salt 2.0. If you're using that gateway, it's now called Limelight 2.0. So make sure you remember that so you don't get confused when you're looking for it on the providers page. And of course, Logan walked us through the new preserve configuration in your decline manager. And then Greg walked us through billing freedom, which is really, just to reiterate, is this new suite of tools that we've built for you so that you have ultimate billing freedom, ultimate billing flexibility, and pretty much unlimited offer customization. So that beta program is now live. The third link that you guys have in your chat is Melissa's email, and Melissa is running that beta program and will do a live demo for you guys and get you guys all set up if you want to sign up for it. And part of billing freedom, we have, Greg briefly showed us billing models and offers and that newest feature, product bundles. But this whole suite of tools, we're just going to keep enhancing it. We're going to soon add things like prepaid offers and gift subscriptions. So highly encourage you guys to at least check it out because you're going to have access to this incredible suite of tools if you do sign up. And finally, our redesigned Limelight platform. There's that help center, the UI, the navigation. The last link that you guys have in your chat is a feedback form that we've created. So we want to hear your feedback about that the redesigns that we've done, because we want to keep improving it for you. We want to know what works and what doesn't. So click that last link to fill out our feedback form. And that's pretty much all we've got for you today, guys. Anything else Logan, Greg, Chad, you guys want to add before we say goodbye to everybody?
I think I'm good.
Cool. Okay.
Start using billing models.
I like it. Okay, cool. Well, that's all we got for you today, guys. Thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for all your questions, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.